We're going to hold off. I asked you to complete the last 2 questions, I believe. Was it the last 2 or last 3?
Last 3.
Last 3. So, what do lines 10 and 11 mean to the author? What's the author's message? And how is this text a reflection of the cultural attitudes and beliefs of the time period? We're going to hold off on that. I want to get into Langston Hughes' poem, Words Like Freedom. Okay? We're going to do that together, very much like we did Heritage. Once we do that and we discuss that poem, we'll get back to this one, and then we'll look to our writing. And we're going to answer that essential question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
What page is that?
this is on page 34. So in your interactive notebook, will you go ahead and copy the questions? So for Words Like Freedom questions, my first question, the words freedom and liberty have very similar meanings. Based on your knowledge of this time period, describe why these 2 words are used differently in this poem. Very. The words freedom and liberty have very similar meanings. Based on your knowledge of this time period, describe why they are used differently in this poem. Second question, what is Hughes's message? After we read this poem, what is he trying to tell us? It's not going to be explicit. Poetry is not often explicit, so we have to decode. What is he trying to say? And then number 3, how might Hughes's background help to influence his creation of this poem? Knowing what we know about Hughes, why does he write this poem? When you're done writing the questions, will you please put your pencils down so I know that you're ready to read? Thank you, Tiffany. Thanks, Nick. Thank you, Powers. Thank you, Ashley. Thanks, Brent.
Excuse me, Ms. Dixon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Extra.
Thank you.
Almost. Thank you, Macy. Okay, you should have a copy of the poem in front of you. Will you please take a minute? There's 2 poems on this page. I want you just to read Words Like Freedom. Stop at the end of Words Like Freedom. So will you take a minute? Will you please read this poem to yourself silently? Okay, it looks like most people, their eyes are up. They're looking at me, so I think that they're done. Are we good, everyone? All right. Will you follow along as I read the poem out loud? Okay, eyeballs and text. Words Like Freedom by Langston Hughes. There are words like freedom, sweet and wonderful to say. On my heartstrings, freedom sings all day, every day. There are words like liberty that almost make me cry. If you had known what I know, you would know why. Okay, our first question is, the words freedom and liberty have very similar meanings, but obviously he's using it differently. Freedom in the first stanza is different from liberty in the second stanza. Why are they used differently in this poem? How? Will you please discuss with your table what you think? Discuss with your table what you think. 45 seconds.
Like, I don't know how to say it, like dense, I don't know. It has more of a deeper meaning, maybe.
Freedom?
Yeah. No, liberty.
Oh, liberty?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then freedom's like, I'm going to be free. Like
less,
less
less comfortable.
strong, I guess. Liberty's a stronger word.
Liberty's a stronger word? Okay.
I don't know, just, yeah. Then freedom.
It makes me saying it feels great to be free. It says
America and you think, wow.
Liberty has a sad connotation to it?
Liberty, the Statue
Okay.
of Liberty is like a sign of freedom.
it's like freedom means you're free. Like you can do what you choose and what you have to take. But liberty is like I think what's more like justice. So like limits what you can do, like the ability to do those things.
The ability to do those things, so it's limiting her in some way. Okay. Everybody have a chance to discuss?
Yeah.
Okay. Will you come to a stopping point in your conversation? We're going to annotate our text. Okay. I'm going to move the notebooks. Can everybody see that? Yes. This idea of freedom, what does freedom mean to you? What do you think? Why is it used differently? Because what does freedom mean to you? If you hear the word freedom, what does it mean? Wesley?
You have rights.
You have rights, okay? Natalie?
It's more like a happy word to use.
Cheerful.
Yeah, cheerful.
So happy, cheerful. So we're identifying emotion.
Yeah.
What else? Ashley, what do you have?
Like if you use that, if you want to do something, no one's gonna stop you from doing it.
Okay, do what you want. Is that right?
Yep.
Daisy, does your group have something? What did you guys discuss?
We said that the freedom and liberty, they can be like, I don't know how to explain it.
It's okay. Can your group help you? What do you guys think freedom means? If you hear the word freedom, what thoughts come to your mind or images come to your mind? McCaskey.
Well, so it's like you have a dream, and like you, no, like Ashley said, it's like no one's gonna stop you from doing it. You can do it if you want.
So you would associate freedom in achieving a dream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Powers?
The image that pops up in my mind for freedom is the Statue of Liberty.
For freedom, the Statue of Liberty pops up.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting because then we have liberty in the poem. Beats?
Yeah, we were talking about how liberty had like a deeper meaning. We thought it did, but then I said, it said based on your like prior knowledge to this time period, they said that the Statue of Liberty was like the symbol for like freedom. So we linked the two together.
So we feel like the Statue of Liberty is our symbol for freedom, right? Based on who thinks that that's our symbol? Immigrants, right? Okay. So then what about liberty? So Beats had mentioned that liberty, they feel, their group discussed, has a deeper meaning. What does liberty mean to you when you hear that word, liberty? What do you think of? Ashley?
The Statue of Liberty, like when the immigrants that were on the boat when they were going to New York, they saw this statue and they said that's like a symbol of freedom for them.
Okay. So immigrants really look to it for their freedom, whatever they were running from. So immigrants. Rebecca, what about your group? What did you guys discuss? If you guys talk about liberty, what does liberty mean to you guys?
Well, we
What do you
said
think?
to use it in a sad way.
It was kind of sad.
Yeah.
Okay. Why sad? Why do you think sad?
Because in the next line it said that almost made me cry, so we said it was sad because.
Okay. So you're linking that. Good. McCaskey?
How they made the people like really happy and like had tears of joy, like they're like, yes, sort of big face.
Okay. So when we cry, doesn't necessarily need to be sad. It could be tears of joy. Okay. Macy?
I thought that liberty meant like no slaves or, yeah.
No slaves. Going back to the time period, do we have slavery right now? No. But let's keep that idea in our mind though. We don't have slavery right now, but what's going on? So, Power, something about liberty?
No, nothing about liberty. I was gonna say how they're different in this poem.
How they're different in this poem? Okay, hold on. Does anybody have anything else when they think of the word liberty? What comes to mind so we can support that word first? Brant?
What comes to mind is the Constitution, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But when they were writing that wasn't necessarily linked to African Americans because there were slaves at the time. Or Native Americans.
Can I go with this thread right here? Let's focus on this, okay? So we talked about no slaves. We know that in the 1920s, during Langston Hughes' time, there isn't any slavery, right? Emancipation Proclamation freed our slaves. Also, we had the right to vote, okay? But now Brant is linking it to the Constitution, and in the Constitution specifically states liberty. That's what we wanted for all Americans, was our liberty. In this stanza, there are words like liberty that almost make me cry. If you had known what I know, you would know why. We fought for this right. Based on this poem, do you believe Langston Hughes thinks he has liberty? No. Maybe not. What is being withheld from Langston Hughes? Why does he feel like he does not have liberty, what our Constitution was fighting for? Why does he not have liberty? Hold on 1 second, because I've got two people right in it. Can you talk with your group? 30 seconds, what do you think? Powers, Beats? Brand, you linked it to Constitution. Can you share why, maybe?
There's white schools, black schools.
What do you think he doesn't have?
They don't have equal rights. They're like fighting for their
Freedom? Okay, so
equal rights.
Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves, right? And they have the right to vote. But what's going on in this time period that Langston Hughes might feel his people they don't have? Oh, what do you call that separation? Do you remember? Segregation. So do they truly have rights? Do they truly have that freedom?
No, because they're African American.
Rock stars. You guys have it?
Well, I thought like he covers it like he has when we fought Great Britain.
Okay. Okay. He doesn't have any rights. So they do have the right to vote, right? They do have that, and supposedly they're free, right? But what's being withheld from them now, and in what form? Directly on us. Segregation. See, you guys are smart. So do they truly have that liberty? Does everybody think that they heard something reasonable within their conversation? Something that makes sense to them? Raise your hand if you feel like you have something that made sense to you in your conversation. Beats' eyes are like this big. She's like, me, pick me. Okay, all right. So I haven't heard from Alyssa, and I haven't heard from Sayosi, and I've heard from you, girl. Alyssa, what do you think? What did your group discuss?
Were separated from the white people, so they didn't have like all the rights of the white people.
Okay, so they were separated. What do we call that separation? Zach?
Segregation.
Segregation. So maybe they don't truly have this piece. Mr. Bailey, do you have something to add? What'd your group talk about?
Well, like they didn't have like equal rights to whites yet.
Okay, they didn't have equal rights to whites yet. In what forms do you think?
Like when Alyssa talked about segregation. Maybe.
Okay, so weren't truly welcome in all areas. Okay, Brant?
The way we put it is,
Are you with us, Adrian? Good? Okay.
and he feels that he's free from being a slave, but not free of segregation. So like, he doesn't have, the liberty is not, like, it's almost like the liberty between people isn't in equal amounts, so like liberty is almost his limitations in what.
So liberty being a limitation. So he has freedom. Langston Hughes said, hey, through the Emancipation Proclamation, we have freedom. We're no longer slaves. However, through this liberty piece, there's still segregation. We don't truly have equal rights. And our liberty is linked to our Constitution. What was our Constitution a representative of? Who developed that? Who protects that? Powers, do you know?
The Christian white man.
Christian white men. And the Christian white men, what positions do they hold?
Like the government or, yeah.
Our government. So government, our Christian white men, are the keepers of that liberty. Possibly still withholding or oppressing our people because Langston Hughes feels like they are not getting that piece. African Americans aren't getting that piece. Natalie, something to add? Jasmine, something to add, and then we'll go beats. Natalie.
It kind of reminded me of when Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Give me liberty. Give me that political freedom, possibly, right? From who was he asking political freedom from?
Britain.
Great Britain. Okay. Or give me death. Jasmine.
So, like, they have freedom, but they don't have liberty, so they're free, but, like, they're not equal to society.
Okay, they're not equal in that general society. Christian white men. Good. Beat, something to add.
We said they have freedom, which they can do what they want, not necessarily, but they don't have liberty, which is equal rights. They don't,
Okay.
we had
Job opportunities we were talking about. Things like that. Good. All right. Take out your notebooks. So you're going to answer these. So I'm asking, right? The words freedom and liberty have very similar meanings. Based on your knowledge of this time period, describe why they are used differently in this poem. Okay? To answer this, what are you first going to do?
Embed the question.
Thank you. Embed the question in your answer so that you know that you're focusing your answer. Will you please put your pencils down when you're finished with question 1 so that I know you're ready for question 2? Ready, Ryan? Good. Bradley? Awesome. Adrian, you with us? Thank you, sir. Please don't die on me, Sayu. I'd be very, very sad. Yes, sir. Almost there? He's all right. He's all right. But way to motivate him, Powers. He's focusing, Silas. Leave him alone. He said he's focusing. Leave him alone. And Beats is writing a novel to us.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think it's good. You're with us. Good, Brandon?
To say, just keep
Almost?
coming.
All right, here we go. Question 2. What is Hughes' message? And I believe you guys, we've already answered in the first one. I believe this is going to link right into that second one. So will you please just quickly discuss with your table, 30 seconds so you can organize your thoughts, and then we'll talk about it.
His message is he has.
Even though African Americans have freedom now that they aren't slaves, that they're not equal to.
So it sounds great. We were supposed to have freedom, but we don't really. Good. That's a message. Easy.
It's pretty much the answer to the question.
His freedom doesn't mean that he has liberty and that he wants liberty.
Awesome. That's his message. Ladies and gentlemen, does everybody have an answer they think is reasonable?
Yeah.
Yes? What do we have? Jane, what do we have?
That just because he has freedom doesn't mean that he has liberty.
Just because he has freedom, he doesn't have liberty. Langston Hughes specifically, or who else?
All
African Americans, possibly. Do you guys think that that's a reasonable answer? Is that our message? Sweet. Will you write that down, please? I think that's his message. Yeah. And you were pretty thorough in one, so I think that's going to help us to understand and then inform our writing, right? Yeah. Are we good? Almost there? So they have this, but they don't have this. Make sure you have that. Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. Number 3. Now what we know about Langston Hughes, whom I love, 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 love. Now that we know about, yes, Langston Hughes' background, how does that influence the creation of this poem? His message is, hey, you said we have this, but we don't truly have all of it. We don't have this piece. What about his background? Why did he write this poem? How did this help to develop this poem, knowing what we know about Langston Hughes? Discuss with your group quickly.
Okay, so he either got it from that.
New York.
He was successful in New York. What else was he successful in?
White collar.
White colleges, yeah, educational system. What else? What is he successful at? Writing, poetry. Has that success translated into benefiting African Americans as far? No, not thus far. Right? Because is he saying that there's something missing here? Yeah. There's something missing here. So he wants it. He says, I might be good enough because I'm successful in writing and at the educational system, white American educational system, but you're still denying me my liberty. Why? Yeah. My success isn't really doing anything for us, I guess. Right? It's number 3. Do you guys have something that you guys heard in your discussion that was reasonable?
Yes.
Sios? Help us. Powers.
What Victoria was saying is because
It's all on you.
how he went to college at Harlem, yeah, right?
In Harlem, right? Columbia and
how
Lincoln.
how white writers or poets or whatever influenced him. They will probably actually listen to what he has to say.
Okay, so hopefully his success in writing this, he has this message, hey, you're still withholding this stuff from me, but hopefully his success will open people's ears. They'll hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Howard, something to add?
With like what Lucille said is influence from other writers, or he wants to get the message out there that African Americans are still not happy with what's going on in the U.S.
Okay. Or that African Americans still aren't happy because they still don't have what they were promised, right? Promised. Beat, something to add? Yes?
She doesn't have it.
What'd you say?
It's okay, think about it. Okay, oh, Macy's gonna,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right, Macy.
The groups discussed that he's going into the U.S. freedom and stuff, and he's showing other African Americans that they can get along. They don't have to stay in their territory, because like in World War I, it's like a no man's land in the middle. Like you can't cross here because it's not going to be equal.
Okay.
But he's showing that it's going to be equal if we just get all along.
Right? Macy's like, go Macy! Okay, so we're linking it to even World War I. Hey, it will be equal. We don't have this piece, but based on my success and my background, what I have to offer and bring to the table, I'm going to open up America's eyes. Is that what you're saying? Did I say it right? Good enough for you?
Yep.
Okay, Beats?
Since he's successful in both white and African American cultures, I think he was trying to bring in both sides so both points of views could see it, and his his inspirations or whatever, or the people he looked up to were white.
Okay. So Langston Hughes, based on he's successful in both cultures, African American culture and you believe white culture also, hey, maybe that's an inspiration or a motivation. Everybody's going to see that success, and so he's going to kind of be that hero, that champion, right? The face of success, regardless of his background, his race. Brant, something to offer.
Well, I wrote more, but just to sum it up
Gentlemen?
in like a short sentence, I wrote, success wasn't translating into liberty.
Okay. So he said that Langston Hughes' success actually might not have been translating into that liberty, what he wanted. He's successful, but they still don't have what they were promised. And I think all those answers are okay, right? Those all make sense. They're all reasonable.
Mine too?
Yes, sir. Yours too. Make sure that you have that written down. Take a minute to answer number 3, and then I need you to take out your I2 Sing America questions. You finished that last night for homework.
Victoria said what you said.
How would you answer what, number 3? Okay, so what are you struggling with?
Well, when I was I wouldn't necessarily
Write it? Okay, so what can we say? His background, right? And they said, what's part of his background? What were you hearing from the class?
Well, he's both white and African.
He's African American.
Yeah.
Where is he finding is he successful?
Yes.
And where? Where? In universities? Yes, he has his college degree. Okay. And that's in white culture, correct?
Yeah.
And what did we talk about him being related to the Harlem Renaissance? Do you remember him being related to the Harlem Renaissance? How do I feel about Langston Hughes? Yes, I like him. I like him a lot, okay? Because he's super successful and just kind of the face of the Harlem Renaissance, right? So he's successful in both. In this poem, what's that success doing for him? Both in white culture and African American culture, what's that success doing for him?
Well, it's not like helping because they don't still have their liberty, but
Good. So maybe his influence is, hey, I'm successful in both white and African American cultures, but I still don't have what you promised us, America. Right? Good. Almost?
No.
Jessica Rabbit, you all right?
Yeah.
Almost done?
This is like my food.
No.
They're recording you. They're recording you.
I know.
They heard you. Okay. All right, so we're looking at, is everyone good? Jaden, almost? Zach? Almost? Are we good? Okay, so here we go. Langston Hughes, we're going back to the I Too Sing America. And we looked at lines 5, or no, question 5, 10 and 11, correct?
Yeah.
Here we go. What do lines 10 and 11 mean to the author? What do lines 10 and 11 mean to the author? So you should also have your poem, I said. You have your questions and your poem. And if we go back to lines 10 and 11 in our poem, it says, and eat well and grow strong. That might be a little bit difficult though, so let's come back to the top of that stanza. Line 6 says, I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. So we're focusing on and eat well and grow strong. What do those lines mean to the author? To eat well and grow strong. McCaskey.
well, I said that the author is going to do everything he can to be equal with all the whites too. It's like in this poem, it seems like he doesn't have the right with all the others because he has to be seen in another place, like hiding away from the other people because they're ashamed of him.
Okay, so they're trying to hide him, they're ashamed of him, they kind of put him in the back, that's where we talked about the kitchen being kind of in the back of the house typically. But now he's gonna do everything he can to eat well and grow strong. What might that look like? Brandon, is your hand up or are you?
No.
So curious. Sayosi? Zach?
But when it says in line 11, 10 and 11, I will eat well and grow strong, I believe that he's saying, like with what Chris said, how they send him to the back, and when he laughs, I believe that he's not growing physically strong, but mentally strong.
So not physically strong, but mentally strong. Okay, so we're not back there eating our spinach, drinking our milk.
Becoming Popeye.
Mentally strong, possibly. Natalie?
Yeah, kind of like, who's that?
That was Zach.
Kind of like he was growing in knowledge.
Growing in knowledge.
Yeah.
Good. Powers?
That he's going to obey what you're saying, but slowly get better and get stronger and better than that.
Okay, I'll go in the back of the kitchen right now. I'll do what you're telling me right now. But while I'm back there, I'm gonna take care of me. I'm gonna eat well, I'm gonna grow strong. And Zach said that's mentally strong. Natalie said that's gaining knowledge. Okay? Go ahead, Jessica. Rabbit, come on.
Well, okay, I kind of thought like he was like all that time like he spent in the kitchen, he was like making a plan to like show them that they're all equal and everything.
Okay. Sure. So he's making a plan. He's going to show them. How do we know he's going to show them?
Because it says, okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Because it says in lines 21 and 23, besides, they'll see how beautiful I am. It's not like, once I show them, haha, you'll see.
You're going to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
23, you'll be ashamed. Beats.
In 13 it says, tomorrow I'll be at the table. When company comes, nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen.
Okay.
But when he says eat well and grow strong, even though I'm in the back of the kitchen, it doesn't mean I can't still like have fun.
Okay, still have
I don't
fun.
know. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it says laugh in the line before. Just because I'm back there doesn't mean I'm going to be any less. I
Okay.
don't know.
Just because I'm back there, I'm laughing at you. Right? Is that what you're saying? I'm laughing. I'm not going to be any less. Macy, something to add?
When he says grow strong, I'm thinking that he means by words, like he can use his words against theirs and say, I have an equal right to be at the table with you guys.
So he's going to grow in words. Okay? And is Langston Hughes just this master at poetry right now? I mean, we're seeing that, right? Good. Okay, so lines 10 and 11, what do they mean to the author? You're writing that down. Remember to do what? Embed the question. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's good. You're with me? Question 6. What's the author's message? What is Langston Hughes trying to tell us? Powers, what do you think he's trying to say?
I think he's trying to say that slavery ended because of the African Americans striking back.
Okay. Slavery ended because African Americans struck back. Victoria, what do you think?
I think the author's message is that African Americans are part of America too, and that they think they shouldn't be treated differently from the white men.
Okay. African Americans are part of America too, and they shouldn't be treated differently than other Americans, than white men. Why do you think that? Where in the text gives you that idea?
It says, I too sing America, and this helps us understand that he wants to be a part of this country.
Okay. So he says, I too sing America, and it helps us to understand he wants to be part of this country. McCaskey.
Well, I said his message is that white people are ashamed to be around African Americans because line 7 it says they send me to eat in the kitchen when the company comes, so I'm just like well that he says you all are going to be ashamed too because he also isn't.
You're going to be ashamed. You're going to be ashamed of yourselves because I too am America. I'm American too. Also, good. Beats.
Going along with what Wesley said.
Adrian, I got you right after this.
He said, like they struck back.
Okay.
Maybe he's saying that since we did it once, we can do it again.
Okay. So hey, we did this once. We're gonna do it again. Adrian, something to add?
In this poem, he seems fairly confident that one day they'll be equal.
Langston Hughes seems very confident, fairly confident, one day they will have that equality, right? And remember at the very beginning of his works, he was very optimistic and very positive about those social justices. In the end, not so much, but right now, he's pretty confident. Will you make sure that you have that down? And then, how is the text reflection of the cultural attitudes and beliefs of the time period? That's our essential question, okay? So hold off on that. You should have that down. Will you just make sure 6 is already answered? If you have anything to add based on this conversation, this discussion, add that now. But let's look at, I just handed out your foldable. As soon as you're done with that question, I handed out your foldable for writing. Sure. Are you with me?
Yes.
Foldable? Sweet. Here we go, guys. So on page 32, you guys have your essential question. You also have it on the bottom of your I2 Sing America. Your essential question needs to be answered with your claim, right? With your claim. Let's read this claim piece really quickly just to remember what we're talking about. When I want a claim, when we're addressing a claim, this is what we're looking for. A claim tells the reader what the paragraph is going to be about. It is a statement that answers a question. It answers one side of an argument. And remember, there is no I or because in a claim. You take that out. The because is the reasoning, right? And we're looking for textual evidence. So it's not about you, your thoughts and feelings. We're looking for facts. We're looking for evidence here, okay? So if it helps you, you can write your essential question on the back of this, if it helps you. But what I'm looking for on page 32 of your notebook is how do these poems reflect the cultural attitudes and beliefs of this time period? That's what our claim is going to address. How do these poems reflect the cultural attitudes and beliefs of this time period? When you're writing your claim, okay, your topic sentence, remember we're going to flip this open. Your claim can go right there. Okay, your claim can go right there. So you might start off with, these poems are reflective of the cultural attitudes and beliefs of the time period, showing us various perspectives, the African Americans' perspectives. The African American perspective and the treatment from white Americans, okay? You're writing your claim to focus that. As soon as you're finished with your claim, you have 45 seconds, okay? And then you guys can get cleaned up. We'll pick up the rest of this writing tomorrow. Write your claim, and then we'll pick up the rest of the writing tomorrow, looking for evidence and reasoning.